I've been accustomed to begin my Rorate homilies with a little joke, either because it's too early in the morning and we're all so tired, or I'm just not as funny as I thought I was. No one ever laughs. So today you don't get a joke. Go right into it. The beginning words of the gospel, Mary set out, coupled with the words of the Song of Songs in the first reading, touch on the very essence of our Catholic faith. G.K. Chesterton once said, "Let your religion be less of a theory and more of a love affair." A theory is a mere system of ideas meant to explain a specific reality. It is not a theory that has brought us here this morning. It is not theory that has inspired us to leave behind our comforts at home to come to this Mass so early in the morning. No, this is not theory. This is a love affair. Only a love affair can truly encapsulate why we have all set out from our homes and our comfort to come to this church so early in the morning. Those words, Mary set out, do not just imply a simple act of the Blessed Virgin Mary after the Incarnation. They express her very being, the very essence of her relationship with God. Mary is the one who always set out in her relationship with Christ. Mary is the one who is always setting out to follow her Son wherever he would lead her, whether it was to visit her cousin Elizabeth, to go to Bethlehem, to Egypt, to Nazareth, to Jerusalem, to the cross, even to the tomb, and far beyond until her death. She was always setting out in her relationship with Christ because her religion was not so much a theory, but a love affair. And there's a reason for this. The only way that we really grow is when we're stretched. That's what makes our faith a love affair. Because you can fall back into a theory, a system of ideas when we're comfortable. But when we're suffering, when we're being stretched, that's when our ideas become flesh and blood. It's like that with most things in life. Seminary could teach me everything I wanted according to ideas about the priesthood. But only when I set out to be a father in a parish did those ideas become flesh and blood. So it is with marriage, with parenting, working a trade, exercising. It's only when we're really doing it that it becomes part of you. And for our religion to move from the mind to the heart, we must be willing, like Mary, to continually set out to become uncomfortable, to suffer, in order to grow in our relationship with Christ. And that's why it's so appropriate we have a reading from the Song of Songs this morning. It's one of the only times in the entire liturgical year that we have a reading from the song. And the Song of Songs, it's right in the middle of the book. It's one of the shortest books of the entire Scripture. And it has more commentaries on that book than any other book in the Scriptures. And that's because, according to the fathers of our church, the doctors of our church, all the great mystics of our church, the story of the Song of Songs touches on the very essence of the entire drama that the entire Scriptures contain. The love affair between the bridegroom God and his bride, the people, the church, the individual soul. And one of the most beautiful revelations of the Song of Songs touches on one of the most unique aspects of our Catholic faith, that only in Christianity is God the principal actor. In all other religions, it is man who is seeking God. Only in Christianity is it God who is seeking man. It's God who searches after us. That's what the bride experiences in the reading we just heard. Hark, my lover, here he comes, springing across the mountains, leaping across the hills. My lover is like a gazelle or a young stag. Here he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattices. My lover speaks, he says to me, "Arise, my beloved, my dove, my beautiful one, and come." It is God who runs after us, springing and leaping. It is God who looks for us, gazing and peering. And it is God who cries out to us, "Arise, my beloved, my beautiful one, and come." But he can only invite, because love must be a free response. And every one of us is here this morning in response to his invitation. And that's how our religion is kept from being a mere theory and always becoming more and more in our lives a love affair. By continually responding to God's invitation to arise and come out to meet him, to set out. A philosopher once said, "All of my ideas are bloody ideas," meaning they're all expressed in my very body, in what I do. None of my ideas are just abstract. And the way our ideas about God, our faith, become bloody is by, like Mary, always being willing to set out to meet him. That's when our faith takes on flesh. And every idea of God about us is a bloody idea. The incarnation in the womb of Mary was bloody. The nativity of Christ in a cave was bloody. The passion of Christ on the cross for our redemption was bloody. All God's ideas are bloody ideas, because his relationship with us is not a theory. It's a love affair. And that's why the Eucharist is never just an idea, a nice thought, or a simple symbol. It's flesh and blood, because love affairs must be expressed in flesh and blood. And there's no time when the whole church more fully joins in those beautiful words of the bride in the Song of Songs than when she experiences her bridegroom leaping, jumping, running to her, and coming to her on the very altar in the Holy Eucharist, peering through the lattices of the candles. May our hearts be one with her as we look upon the one who sets out to encounter us at this moment, us who have set out so early in the morning to encounter him. Hark, my lover, here he comes, springing, leaping, gazing, peering, calling out to me. Arise, my beloved, my dove, my beautiful one, and come. O my dove, let me see you. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet, and you are lovely.